So how are things on your end with business? I know
Yeah.
um, markets are all over the place, just depending on
Yeah.
where you live,
Yes.
which city you're in, which province you're in.
Yes.
How are sales, I'd say overall from, I guess even I know like in your market specifically from last year to this year, are sales kind of at par? Are we a little bit below or above
I
where
feel
we
like
were?
sales are low and prices are low.
Okay.
I just, however, I mean, we're busy. So, I mean, we have a bunch of listings on the market right now. I think we have like nine or 10. But we just listed two last week. And one of them was at a 599 price point. We had 61 showings in 5 days. So we held offers. So buyers are out.
Mhm.
On offer night, we didn't get it done, but the next day we did. And
Yeah.
then last night we just got we did an 899 property, detached, mature area in Bowmanville. 4+2, four bathrooms. Major ticket items were done. Um, it just had to do some cosmetic, and we listed at 899, had 52 showings, and we sold for 1,000,010 firm. So I
Nice.
mean, people are out there. It's just learning from this. I've learned that the market has shifted in the last 5, 7 days.
Hmm.
And now more than ever, you have to have that honest conversation with your clients. I mean, we always do, but it's still even hard because things are losing every day, unfortunately, because,
Yeah.
interest rates we're hearing that are going up, which is people who are getting pre-approved already are seeing different numbers, so that sucks.
Hmm.
We're in a market where inventory's just started to happen, so it's going to keep growing, which is going to put more pressure on price. So
Hmm.
the conversations that I have with our sellers, listen, like, you know, we're going to do the best we can, but we can't control what I can't control is like what other people list for, what other sellers sell for, and what the market does.
Yeah.
I can
Hmm.
we just have to present and be well in our category. So, and understand that we have to change on the fly. So, if you're just trying to put your house up for sale and trying to get a number, like we're not going to list it.
Yeah.
Like this is like you need to understand you need to sell
Yeah.
or you're going to sell because you're going to buy. Now on
Hmm.
this on the buying side, great opportunities
Yeah.
because
And
there's a
then
lot
how
of
does, yeah, there's the opportunity is sitting there and for sure.
yeah.
Are you noticing then with your leads, I guess, what have you noticed lately with your leads when it comes to the new leads you're generating? The motivation levels or, what's the common feedback or objections that you're getting from those versus perhaps some of the older leads that have been, in your system being nurtured that are all of a sudden becoming active?
Yeah, great question. So I'm definitely seeing like obviously with prices coming down, people are seeing that. So I'm not sure I'm sure a lot of people are noticing that a lot of their 30 days or more leads that weren't active are now getting active. So that's a good sign. For our older leads, we've connect with them and it's they're hot or cold still, but I mean, with prices getting attractive, people are going to come out of the woodworks, but what does this mean for people that have a property to sell? If they sell a little bit, like if they're a little bit further than the bigger market. So for example, we're at GTA, right? So if we're in Clarington, let's say, and someone's at like Northumberland or a little bit further, those prices are falling, like the BC cities are falling further. So it's like it's now trying to play this game of if they are like there's actually a few games. So it's like making sure that they didn't buy in the last 5 years because then they've lost money. Okay. And also and lost money. And then also we want to make sure that like with the new numbers, it still makes sense
Hmm.
because like some people are still just like it's selling and using that money and it's almost like a lateral move in terms of funds
Yeah. Yeah.
or they're adding
So,
more. Some are cashing out, right? But it all
yeah,
it all
for sure.
goes to like when they bought it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Does it make sense?
Yeah. I
It
have my
has to
team
make
on
sense.
here. So, I mean, I'd love for my team to come up and talk to you more about it because they're also calling much more heavier than I am.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you want to just pick one random Kate Moretti and just bring them up here. Well, hopefully it's not Julita or is it Frank? We'll never know. Is someone on there or?
Yes, it's me.
Oh, hi, Julita. I didn't pick it.
Hi.
So, so what are you finding? So, guys, for context, Yulita has been with us for about a year and a half. I've known Yulita for a while. We were in the same brokerage. She's awesome. She has done 16 years of experience, so she knows what it is. So when she came on our team, she started focusing more on Agent Locator, and with our scripts and stuff, it has made such a great difference. And with Julita, she's been crushing it. She's been doing a lot of deals and getting a lot of CMAs, especially more recently through these leads. So Julita, what are you finding through these leads, in your opinion?
Well, I think that the agent locator leads, they just require a lot of time. And you might get one just randomly that's ready to go right now, but for the most part, they do require a lot of time and a lot of follow-up and nurture.
Mm. How long would you say? Because I think like since you've done Agent Locator, I would say from today where you're at, I would say you've done a really great amount. I think you've done like 8 or 9 transactions, maybe 10.
Not all from agent locator, but yeah, I think it's for the ones that I did last year, it took about 4 to 5 months from the moment I started to chatting with them until they actually we wrote a deal, right?
Nice.
And
Now,
in some cases, I took them out. I took them out. We got them pre-approved, and there was some situations where they had to basically pull back for one reason or another. But then it was important to basically stay on top of them and follow up with them.
yes. So then that's how you're getting some other ones. So basically,
Hmm.
just like I tell everyone here, I tell my team it takes 3 to 18 months for a lead to transact, right? So it goes to show with scripting and being prepared, she's getting them at that on average 4 to 5 months out. So that's perfect, right?
Mhm.
So, and remember with real estate, whatever you're doing today is not going to show for the next 3 to 6 months. That's why it's very important to always prospect. And Yulita, what would you say? Because I mean, everyone hears me every week, and I know everyone's sick of it, so I'm bringing a different perspective. But what would you say has made a difference in the way that you approach these leads now?
Checking
Like,
in
like,
and
sorry, let me go back from
yeah,
like when you're not doing agent locator to doing agent locator now. Like, what have you found in terms of like now, what has made you successful doing agent locator?
consistency,
Yes.
consistently showing up in front of those people. That's number one. And number two, not being as serious. I think in the beginning it was more like, okay, I'm doing something new. I want to do this right, but what am I doing? So there was a lot of uncertainty kind of in those first few days.
Right.
But going like now that I've had success with this, I am just a lot more casual when I speak to those leads and when I check in with them later. So
Yes.
the building that relationship, it builds relationships faster.
Nice, nice, nice. That's amazing, Yulita. Is there any
Mhm.
tip that you feel that you would want to give yourself, if you look back if you went back in time and you were just restarting these leads, what would you tell your futures or your past self?
I think it's important to approach this with the mindset that it's already successful. It's gonna work. You have to trust the system, because if there is any doubt that it's not going that way, oh, it just might take too long or anything like any of this kind of negative chatter, I think it's going to impact your how you're showing up to the leads. And now having had that success with that already, when I show up and I pick up a call, it's like I'm just going through the motions that are necessary to get to the next step, but I'm not so attached to that outcome. And that's, I think, the outcome is showing up more.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Mhm.
And
Honest,
another thing is to not to get sidelined when things get busy. When you, of course, right? Which is, yeah.
yeah. That's the hard part, right?
It's a-
But honestly, I can tell, and I know everyone hears this, but Yulita has done such a great job. She's been crushing Agent Locator, to be honest with you. So, and I think, just like she's saying, it's all about consistency and just showing up.
Mhm.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So, Yulita, you're the best. I'm gonna bring up, so I know that,
Yeah.
that may help old, like people who have been in the game for a little bit longer, so like more experienced. But if you're a brand new agent and you don't know, if you want to pull up my other Kate Moretti, I got Frank, who's a newer agent, and I'd love for Frank to come up here and kind of chat about his experience. Because I want to show everyone here that like, I've been doing this for a while. my message that I tell everyone doesn't change. And I want to showcase through individuals that like there's actually success happening. And if you
Mhm.
follow and you come through and you actually like, want to learn through this and want to make this successful, and you have the best coaches, like you have me that to help, but you also have Crystal that's going to help you with the CRM and everything in there. So lean on both of us, right? Like, that's what we're here for. But I would love to show through success. So Frank, welcome up here. Are you here?
I am. Yep. Can you hear me
Nice,
okay?
nice, nice. Yes,
Yep.
yes, I can. So welcome to the club over here. So
Mhm.
just gonna ask you like a few questions, just like Julita. So Frank has really started with us, I would say, in the last couple months, right? He's been doing a great job. So he is a newer agent. He's been doing it for about a year or two, has done some transactions, but now he is learning to level up the game in all ways. So, now, he has, been prospecting, through Agent Locator. So, Frank, before we get into the good stuff, how have you been finding Agent Locator as, a newer agent? I don't want to say the word newer, but like, an agent using this kind of system. How was the overall user face, or what was like kind of, how did you feel about it when you first were introduced to it?
Awesome. Yeah, no worries. Hello, everybody. First off, I think for somebody like myself, and don't be shy saying that I'm a new agent. That is totally, totally fine. Um,
But hold on.
Diving.
You're a newer agent, but I'm telling you, Frank has
Yep,
been scripted and he's a shark he's Frank the Tank.
that's
He will
it.
still eat people right now, but it's just like, he's going through that.
That's true.
Continue
It's
on,
true. So
sorry.
I've had a lot of success diving into the CRM and a lot of the help and the training that Nick has given me. Um, I've had some luck with it and just learning how to bounce around. I'm a big stickler on staying organized, making sure that my notes are there, knowing that if a deal is potentially going to take between 3 and 18 months, all touch points, what happened, call, conversations, names of dogs, names of children, what have you, as much notes as you can layer in is fantastic, right? Just start to build a little bit of a case for you. I think when I started a few months ago, I was a little nervous, a little tepid. I didn't know what I had to talk about if I got somebody on the call. So I just started texting and using the SMS feature in the CRM, realizing it wasn't going as fast as I needed to. I started making phone calls, and then I just started trying to analyze my numbers, bouncing around there, making calls, noticing now that I think we just officially took one of my very first leads. Just took her out on showings this past weekend, and just seeing that there's a process to what we've been taught, layering in those conversations and learning, going through the scripting, and just like Julita made mention as well, is making sure that you're showing up each and every week. You're putting the time, you're making the phone calls, you're having the conversations. And then ultimately, for somebody like myself, just the goal to try and book more and more appointments to get out and help people.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, which, all those things, I mean, you guys can hear from everything is like the message is just you got to show up every day. There's no magic pill, there's no magic way that people are gonna follow you. You don't leave like treats out to your front door, like you got to show up every day, right?
Mhm.
Just like anything. So,
Yes.
that's great. So Frank, so let's say how have your conversations been in terms of like, how have you been framing your conversations from calling these leads? Like what are
Yep.
you looking for in those kind of things? And then we'll move on to like some other stuff.
Yeah, no worries. So ultimately, first and foremost, where they are in their journey is really the first thing that I'm after. Agent Locator is great that it captures their location, their budgets, and everything like that. We can see what they're looking at. Kind of step one, obviously looking to getting into a conversation. And then realistically, what I'm after is timelines, opening up a little bit more dialogue, getting deep into the conversation to really find pain points. What is it that they're specifically looking for? How can you help them in and along their journey is what I'm trying to identify, so I can figure out where I need to assist and where their baseline is as to where we start working together and then moving forward, whether it's finding properties, whether it's price points, layering in new markets and new regions or new municipalities. is a lot of what I've been trying to learn right out of the gate.
Awesome. That's amazing. So that's great, guys. So thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing your experiences. And I hope if you're a newer or experienced agent, you can hear different perspectives from here. But what we can learn from everything is that like consistency, showing up, being scripted, being organized, using the CRM and using the tools that Agent Locator provides, where you have like I don't put anyone on Realm or Treb, this property searches
Mhm.
just because it doesn't make sense for me. Why wouldn't, if you can send something out and not see what someone's using or like any analytics, why wouldn't you use a way where you have a different CRM that gives you the analytics to give you the best success to get that lead and get that paycheck?
Absolutely.
This makes sense, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I know that like, we're hearing from other people, but guys, where are
Yeah.
you guys and girls? Where are you guys at? Where like
Yeah.
how has it been this week for you? Like, if you guys have any questions, objections, or you don't even want to ask me because you're sick of hearing Nick saying the same thing, ask my team members.
I have a question for both of them because again, we touched on the topic of their consistency and having that structure in their system and showing up every day. Now, both of them are at different stages, but to get each one of those leads to the point where they were now an active buyer, potential buyer client, how many follow-ups did that take? What did that follow-up routine look like? Because what we most commonly see is we'll gain a connection with with a lead, sorry, we might follow up once or twice and then they fall through the cracks. We kind of drop them because they're not doing anything and we kind of lose that momentum. So based on the deals that you have made from your leads, what would you say is the average touch points you had to make, personal touch points, whether you connected with them or not? It could have just been a voicemail that you left. How many like attempts did you have to make to get them to the point where they're now in the car looking at homes?
So
Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first.
Sure.
Okay.
It took a lot of calls. It took a lot of calls, and from with different angles. So in most of these people were first-time buyers. So some started out not knowing. Some were actually very new to Canada as well. So they didn't know the process of
Mhm.
purchasing a home. So it took a lot of conversations and a lot of expectation managing over time, and a lot of conversations afterwards, follow-ups with a mortgage broker as well.
Mhm.
And so I would say, gosh, probably, are we talking from the point of do they actually made a deal or until we went out and look at homes?
You went and looked at homes. Like you got them from the point
Yeah.
of I just called you to now I've actually we're going somewhere with this.
Yeah, so I would
Yeah.
say probably 10,
Mhm.
and 10 with some buyers, maybe less with a few other ones. Because I had this one this year that was almost ready to go. She was excited. We just exchanged a few text messages, and then she wanted to go see a house.
Yeah.
So yeah, so but I would be prepared for this to take at least 10 follow-ups.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it goes to show, like, the whole point is just to, understand, like, get them on the phone as early as possible, understand where they're at, build a vibe with them in a relationship, and then help them through the process. As long as you do that, you just keep checking in, you introduce every time you do a call, you step forward with another step, right? Like that's what you're doing, whether it's a check-in just to make sure, things are on track, whether it's, hey, here's our mortgage broker, here's, the next route that we need to take, whatever it is. It's like, I think people lack with expectations and they forget to give their clients expectations. We all
Mhm.
have to remember that when we're not, what you guys have to remember, if you're not a real estate agent, you haven't bought or sold a house, and you're not giving expectations when you guys leave the property or you guys end the meeting, it's like they don't know what to do,
Mhm.
right? So if you're like, oh yeah, it was nice to meet you, okay, see ya, and then like you're not hearing from them because maybe you're too scared to follow up and check out where they're at. Maybe they want to message you, but they're like, I feel weird. And that's where like someone else comes in where they can, relate to and feel more comfortable and swoops in and gets the deal. And that's us. You don't have one anymore. You have three people of me.
Yeah.
So, that's something that is really important, you know?
So
Can I
taking
add something
control.
to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important to find out what is it they don't know and that might help them to make
Mhm.
decisions, right? So trying to figure out where exactly they are at, because it's at first you're just getting that lead and that's just a name and you see what they are looking at, right? But
Mhm.
having those conversations and trying to figure out exactly what do they know, where exactly they are at, and what is it that they need to know at
Yeah.
this phase, and then go from there.
Yes.
Educating them.
Yes.
Educating them, right? Never like I find that, and it's easy to do in any industry that we're in, is we forget that our clients, the customer, the consumer isn't knowledgeable in the industry we practice in. We just sometimes forget and just assume, like it's common sense, you should know this, right? So taking things step by step and creating an easy process for them to follow and having that expectation and setting that expectation of what you're going to do or what you're going to send them and how you're going to show up for them.
Yeah. I think it comes down to understanding that, guys, you are the professional. You have to explain. It's like going to the doctors and they say, "Hey, you got a cold. See you later." It's like, "Okay, so what does that mean? What's my prescription?" We have to understand, what it is, right? So, to answer Matthew's question over here, at the end of the day, I would always be meeting with anybody, because he's basically asking, like, if it doesn't make sense now, do you still meet with people? 100%. Because at the end of the day, we are relationship agents. We want to make sure that we're there for the good times, the bad times, the in-between times, and the support times. So, like, we're gonna make sure we go there and go out all exhaustions of understanding of what's happening and what, educate them what the new market is. And if they're open to it, great. If they're not, doesn't make sense, timing's off, no problem,
Mm-hmm.
but always go to those appointments because that's how you keep your
Absolutely.
clients.
Yeah. We don't know what the reason is. We don't know what the reason is they want to do this, right?
Yes.
Maybe they need to downsize and get out of their current situation.
Yes. If you're willing to share, I know what is on average, but what your Google monthly budget is. So I'm higher just because that's just I'm used to and it works best for us. I think we're between like that almost like that 15, 2 grand range. But I also have 3 people, right? So if I was one person, I would be doing at least $1,000, right? You only do it for a couple of times. So, which is good.
And that's
But
with systems in place. So don't forget that.
exactly.
Right. If you don't have systems in place, you're just generating a ton of leads. They're being
With
neglected and
yes.
they're not going to call you. Okay. That
No.
you have to be calling them. So if you're not
Yes.
able to sit down and dedicate a routine that allows you to stay on top of them, don't throw your money out the window. Make sure you can bite it.
100%.
You only bite off as much as you can chew.
100%. 100%. So, yeah. So other than that, that's pretty much that. Does anyone else have any questions or anything else?
Any other strategies that you would share, Nick, for let's say someone like myself, calling, texting, chasing, trying to get on the call? Do you have a strategy in regards to whether it's 30 days, 90 days, 180 days? Does that conversation and that chase is a little different based on how early or mid into the journey they are?
Yeah, so great question. I think it all comes down to capacity, right? I mean, as you know, we have like our smart plans that get, automatically dripped on and stuff like that. But if they're not connecting or they're not in there, you're just looking at signals. If someone is like you're trying to call and they haven't even opened emails and they're non-responsive, then you move on, right? It's not like
Mhm.
I understand that we want to close every deal, but clearly at this point either their mindset was that they came in, they want to look at something conveniently and they're out, so that's fine. How many times
Yeah.
do we go to a store and don't buy anything and walk out? There's nothing wrong with
Mhm.
that, but it's what you do with the information afterwards, right? So we put everyone on a newsletter. We always do that stuff. So to answer your question, if they're now responding or they have responded, you had a great first initial conversation, but ever since afterwards, they're not respond like they're not like answering your calls. Maybe they're not responding as frequently. But they're opening emails. I mean, just keep on top of them. Like just keep
Mhm.
like maybe instead of a weekly, you call them once a month.
Yeah.
It's a little different also on our Frank because we have an abundance of leads. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
for us, we put it through our system, and then your capacity is whatever you're calling and doing in the moment for the day, right? If because our goal is to contact 20 people or more a day, right? So as we go, some days you do more, some days you do less, some days you're on target, right? Just because of the days, but on average, you're crushing it. So, the most important thing is that you're making the calls out and like, I think it's about segregating your calls. What does that mean? So it's like maybe on like a certain day in the morning, or if you're going to do an all day call, maybe in the mornings, you call all the new leads that come through in the last 30 days.
Hmm.
Okay. And then after that, that list is done, or it's noontime now. Now you move on to people you've actually had conversations with and that do answer or like look at your emails and they do respond to you. Then
Hmm.
you go through that list. And then now you just like the whole point of the conversation is to see where they're at, checking in, seeing if you can provide like what Yuli said, any value, mortgage broker, do you need an assessment? Are you doing renos? Let us tell you where to spend the money and we'll let us tell you what type of finishes if you want to know that, right? Like really
Hmm.
trying to like dive in here. So, on the longer ones, like remember, like if someone is just not responding to you and it's just taking a long time, chances are they're not interested or they have someone, or just like their life has some crazy shit right now. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So those leads don't seem bad. The question that I'd like to ask you, Frank, is your leads that have been 6 months, well, 6 months, 3 months, or 4 months, because I've, given Frank leads that were older leads of mine. How would you feel those leads are working?
Some of them have re-engaged. In working together with some of the older ones you shared with me, I noticed that they dropped off long time ago, and I sent a very just casual text. And one of the notes that I sent earlier in the year, prices are a lot lower than the same time 12 months ago from now. Let me know if you have any questions or you'd like to update or just have another look at what's going on with your current search. And my entire goal was to get them re-engaged. And I have had a few conversations with people who dropped off nearly over a year ago. And that was been the whole point: get them back into the website, get them searching again,
Hmm.
and trying to just relight those old conversations and just get them curious. If there's one big thing I've picked up from Nick in the last few months is get those customers motivated, get them curious to find out a little bit more.
So when you're saying the word curious, these are great things because people need to hear it. But when you're saying the word curious, what does that mean?
Just get them curious, looking at properties that they were looking at a year ago, knowing that they might be able to stretch it a little bit further. Maybe the dollars are able to go a little bit farther. Maybe there's an extra bedroom. Whatever that feature is, share with them where things are priced in the current market right now, and get more of that information out to them. I'm just trying to
So
spark a conversation. Is all I'm trying to do.
for sure. So if I was the lead, how would you get me curious? Make up whatever scenario, it doesn't matter, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Just
let's
to
say,
show
for
people for an
example,
example.
yeah. So let's say you're interested, you're looking in our local market here in Durham region as an
Yeah.
example, where we're seeing with what prices are doing. I might share some recent solds in the neighborhood
Yeah.
and ask them if they're open to seeing some recent solds, what those prices are going at, to once again just see if I can get them interested in just having a much more detailed conversation and getting them actually genuinely on the phone.
Perfect. So to translate value, right? Coming in,
Mhm.
because remember, when they're not searching, they don't have any lead, no agent is coming to them. So now there's no competition. So if you're coming to someone out of the blue and you're providing value, which is the sold listing, and seeing if they're going to bite and be like, oh, wow, right? And the sold listings that we're sending them are obviously everything, but more of the bigger good sales that happen in the area. Because
That's it.
we find, especially now, sellers are getting cheap because they want to save their dollar, but they don't realize how much it's costing them. Every week, right? We do a game about here, I'll show you guys because I think it's super cool. I think, and this is what we're doing on our okay, guys, before I had a team, this is what I was doing every day. Okay. So you have to understand if you're not like educating yourself and updating your software, like you need to do that, number one. So what we do is, where was it? Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Share. Okay. So we play a game every team meeting, and how we open up is basically our assistant takes Danielle takes basically a couple sales in the neighborhood from different areas and see if it's we ask what it's going to sell for, like what will we list it at, what's our strategy, and what is it going to sell for. So based on the photos, based on whatever it is, we say, okay, this would list at 650, and sell for 700, let's just say, for example, right?
Mhm.
So it was interesting because this one here, this is in Skugog, so a premium area where we are. And look, the photos look like shit. Okay. This listing should be selling 900 plus. It sold for, I think, what, 855, guys? I think it was something like that. When this street, like, look at the prop, right? So they're getting cheap. So the thing is what I'm trying to say is that, with sellers being, not spending the right money on, the right representation, there's a lot of opportunities happening. And yes, you might see some shitty sales, but if the shitty sale brings, like, shitty representation, meaning like, the photos look like trash, there's no really good descriptions, like whatever, then that doesn't really reflect the market. That reflects the market a little bit, but more of like someone made a bad decision.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Presentation there. What
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
gathering from what he's saying
You okay?
as well, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Every time we go to talk, from what he's saying as well is, and what I'm hearing is, we're coming from a point of, we're not selling these people when he's following up with them. He is offering something of value without any kind of expectation in
No,
return. Right.
no.
So right away, he's building trust with these individuals that creates curiosity, where they essentially, it's easier to re-engage and have those follow-up conversations and get them back interested again, because they're not feeling any kind of pressure from a sales standpoint.
Yeah.
They're feeling,
This is basically a visual, okay, of what we do. Okay. Everyone has pets here. I'm sure we all have dogs or had a dog. Basically, when you like throw the ball or whatever for your dog, and your dog comes running back and it's just like looking at you and the tail's wagging. So, and it has the ball. So the ball's offering something like to, a value. So it's like you're just a happy person, be like, hey, did you see this sale? Like, you know what I mean? You're
yeah,
just like a happy person, not expecting anything, and literally just trying to help people on the way. So I think of like a dog being like happy and just like because you're there, you know? I mean,
yeah.
maybe no one else thinks that, but that's what I think. That's in Nick's mind. My team knows, so it's all good.
So you're a happy
Uh,
dog. You're the happy dog. Every time you call, you talk to someone, just create the happy dog. That's the
just have your
mindset.
have
Just
your
create the
tail
happy
wagging. Start
dog.
moving in your seat. Have your tail wagging. Okay, so what I would like to do is Zan and Rish, I'd love for you both to jump on here if you guys are open to it. Because Zan, I'd love to hear what you would do. And then, we can go through. You can pick if you want to hear from me.
Mm.
Oh, that's a pretty, you look like the Monopoly man. Um, um, from me or the team members, whatever you want. Just because I know you guys hear me from every week, and I'm just telling you, like what you guys hear from me in an hour, they hear from me 12 hours a day. So, like, I beat it into them because like that's what it takes right now to be successful. And in this market is a tough market. There's a lot of winning that's going to happen, but you need to do like a bunch of extra reps and extra steps and deal with extra problems that should not be happening. So you
Hey,
have to be motivated like a happy dog.
not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can
Yes.
hear you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so was reviewing this question with my team. I have a team in and out,
Awesome.
and the approach is either you can talk to them specifically about the property they're looking at, but the feeling by some is, well, then you're kind of spying on the before you really have a relationship. My personal approach is just to speak more in generalities and then find out if there's anything that they like. So I was just curious to know your take. You can go two ways. You either dive in on the property they're looking at or speak generally. What's your approach?
Yeah, so I think it all comes down to scripting. And I know my team, can answer this too, but I'm going to answer this right now because this is the way that you have to do it. There's two ways. Julita felt like this as well. How sometimes it's like you don't want to say that you can spy on them, right?
Mhm.
But Everything in life is how you approach it. So our script when we go is, we come from a customer service standpoint and it's more of like, hey Zan, hope you're doing well. We just want to connect with you. We actually just want to give you a shout just to thank you so much for using our website on MorettiRealEstate.com. And I just want to let you know that I'm calling you more as a customer service role since you're in that information stage. Because I've been seeing that you were looking at properties online and I just want to make sure that, we're sending you the right stuff of value because there's tons of opportunity right now. I see that you were looking at homes in Oshawa. Are you only considering Oshawa? So, like, this is the thing. Your conversation is going to go much further if you know what they want.
Mhm.
And yes, okay, you can know what they want, but how about Zan? You said, hey, are you looking at homes in Oshawa? And I could say no. And you're like, oh, but I know you are.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
then now use this as a tool because then it's like, oh, you are? Okay, interesting. Because what you set up is saying Oshawa right now. So that's why I want to give you a call. I don't want to be another agent that just sends you like, fills up your inbox. You're gonna remember me. Okay. So where are you looking at? Exactly, right? So I'm looking, no, in Whitby and Ajax. Okay, how many bedrooms? 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms minimum. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. How many garages? Is there any features? You go through all this and you
And you
get the
can, sorry to cut you off,
no,
Nick.
I'm just saying you just get the lead talking. That's it.
And then and with respect to the question if they're looking at a property like 7 times, 8 times, 15 times, like we've seen, people who are those are all active like they're not browsing. Those are people that are actively looking in the majority of the cases. So without really saying like, I know you looked at this address 10 times, it's using something similar to Nick, but also offering something. Is there any additional information I can gather for you about the homes you have seen in Oshawa, like any neighborhood guides or recent sales that would help you with your current search right now?
Yeah. So what I do, and like, okay, so I'm just gonna ask my team because I'm gonna give you guys a different perspective. Okay, Yulita and Frank, what do you think I do differently? I know I'm crazy, and I work all the time. But like, what do I do differently that you guys notice when I have conversations, when I am lead genning? Because you guys obviously hear me. You guys are in the
Mhm.
table doing deals with me.
I think you just probe differently. You probe, you ask 10 times as many questions, and you really get to the root of why they actually are looking, are searching, and just go that 3 levels deep as we've been chatting about.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that I do differently? Yulita?
I think that I agree with Frank. You 100% go, you're bold. You are bold. You go deep with the questions and you don't think, oh, will they be offended by this question? Because I want to go back to that original question that was asked about like people being, when we're kind of feeling that we're spying on them, right?
Hmm.
I used to have that concern, but for as well. But I think that concern was a reflection of me, of how I'm thinking. And when people come to the website, we have literally a snapshot of the entire population of different types of personalities and different types of people. And yeah, there may be somebody, but it's not the type of person that I would want to work with, right? I want to work with a person who is open to receiving,
Hmm.
to receiving information, right?
Hmm.
So, and these people are not going to think, oh, how does she know that I was there on that site, on looking at homes in this city, right? They're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a software that she knows, right? And then
Yeah.
they're going to go from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think so. Thank you so much for sharing that, Frank and Yulita. But the other thing as well is that it's just like asking the questions, but it's also like when this is the level that we're calling our clients. Okay. So this is like a lot of levels higher. Most people that are calling our competition are just like trying to be surface level, not really doing that. And then we find, that's what makes our lead gen harder because people don't want to talk to us originally because they don't know who we are until we talk to them. But once they do, they're like, oh my God, you guys are actually cool. So it's just, people are really closed because they're so used to shitty people. So don't be shitty. And that's it, like
Yeah.
go in there and have a good time. Like, the goal, like Frank and Yulita said, is have conversations. You have people in your store, talk to them, vibe with them, make them come back. Our job is to get people to use our website more and more and more. Our goal is to get people to use our website as like realtor.ca and consistently using them. Because if they're actively on there, always searching, then at the end of the day, that means they're closer to buying or they're closer to that process. And I think the reason why our turnaround time is very, very fast in ours compared to a lot of other people is because we're all asking questions. We're all diving deep.
Mhm.
So, and I'm also really good at talking what everyone's saying out loud, but saying it neutral and saying it in a way. So, for an example, what other fires have I put out? So, for an example, I had a client that we had over 60 showings in the house. We had 4 offers. The offers didn't work that night. At that night we made a number that was going to happen, right? So the next morning I got that number. Now, when I talk to them, they're now getting nervous. They're now wanting a higher number. And I said, we can't do that. Now they're nervous. It's first time sellers, so it's a lot, but they're awesome people. So it was just a little harder. So what happened from there is that, once we started talking, I was diving deep. I said, guys, it doesn't sound like this is a money problem. This sounds like you're like unsure of what's happening problem. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's just like the way that I'm talking, I'm just assessing and talking out loud, like in a neutral space. Because remember, we're not here to feel any ego anyway. What the client wants to do, we follow and we also support, right? Whether they want to buy or not, doesn't matter. We have to support them. They're people. We have to make sure, right? So as long as you give them the support and you're talking to them and you talk out loud. Talking out loud is if a buyer, so a perfect example is like when someone comes onto our website, hey, I understand that you're in that information stage. I understand, right? Because people don't want to be bothered. I'm just looking. Hey, I understand you're in that information stage. However, my goal is just to call you as a customer service to send you more listings that you want to see, and prices are coming down. So, I'm seeing that you're looking at homes in Oshawa. What do you think someone's going to be talking the most about? Themselves. So if you're
Mhm.
asking questions about them, they're going to talk and open. And all you want to do at the beginning is you want to talk a little bit to, let them know who you are, why you're calling, and then once you get to that as quickly as possible, you start asking questions. And then that conversation is the lead should be talking more and more, and then more than you. And then at
Mhm.
that point, you're sitting back and you're just taking all the information, and now you're finding the route that makes sense for them.
Mhm.
So that's how you do it. And honestly, kudos to Frank and Yulita. They've been fucking crushing it, and I'm so happy for them. Remember, these are people that never used Agent Locator. So I don't want to hear people, Agent Locator doesn't work. You're just not working. And you don't have the right method, and you're probably don't have the right scripts. But that is okay. Come to class and let's learn. But if you guys
Yeah.
don't come to class or you don't ask the questions or you're not involved, how can anyone help? You're just hurting yourself.
Mhm.
So, anyways, I'm done. So, any questions at all? Because I
Right.
know we're kind of getting closer to that time,
Yeah.
and I like to talk a lot. So, do you guys have any other
Yes.
questions that you guys have? Objections, life lessons?
Well, Reach has her question about reaching out to a seller lead where really all she's been given is contact information. So because they're coming from Facebook, we're not allowed to ask for their address anymore. But that we know that they're looking for some sort of value in a home or whatever the ad is, somewhere along those lines. What would be the approach or your approach or script that potentially you would use for somebody where you just got phone number
Yeah.
and know that there's some general level of
Yeah.
interest.
So, Rish, if you want to come up here, I need to see what you would say because then I'll say what I'm saying and then I can help you and guide you what it is. Because if I just tell you the answer, it's like the hard part is in this question, there's so many different roadblocks to answer that question.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Rish. How are you?
I'm doing okay, thanks.
Nice.
Um,
So I'm the seller lead. You just have the information. How are you calling and what is the conversation looking like?
so apologies. My kids are sick and they're crying at the back. So,
Yeah, it's all good.
uh,
Don't worry.
but I usually just call them and I'm like, hey, I see that you just registered on reginahousemarket.ca and you were looking for some market evaluation on your property.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not get the address. Um, could you please give me the address? And I'll prepare the report and send it over to you.
How is that working in terms of like out of 10 calls, do you get the address, 10 out of 10 times or?
I haven't got address even once, so
Okay.
because they say that I did it by mistake or I don't have a house to sell, but they sometimes they fill the form. However, they are buyers, not seller. Uh, but it's tagged
So
as a
you have a
seller lead.
scripting, yeah, so you have a scripting problem. The way you
Oh,
ask it sucks.
okay.
Just because like, and remember, this is open space. Like I'm not chirping
Yeah,
at you.
yeah,
It's
that's
just
fine.
like, it's a very basic and like my team knows you can't do basic. You don't get any information. So you have information and as a seller. So the great thing is that you're asking for the information, but you have to say a little bit more motivating and a little bit more different because no one's going to just give you an address. Remember, they don't know who you are. You're just calling them and like you're saying like, bro, I need your address. I'll give you a home assessment. It's kind of hard, right? Because it's like trust nowadays, especially with so much scams, people don't know and trust, right?
Mhm.
So the scripting could be like this. Hey, Rish, how are you?
I'm good.
That's good. It's just Nick Moretti giving you a call. How's your day going?
Good, fine.
That's good. You living the dream just like me or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So, hey, Rish, I just wanted to reach out to you because I saw that you requested an online assessment, and I'm actually working on that right away. There's actually some really good sales that's happening in the area, in Durham region. I just need just to verify the address, just so I can send you these listings to showcase some of the really good sales that are happening in your market. If you don't mind me asking, are you in Whitby?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So do you see the difference? Because if you said no, if you would have said no, you would have said no, I'm in whatever you are
Yeah,
because of the way that I approached it,
I see. Yeah,
right?
makes sense.
So it's you have to make sure you do it and you have to make sure what did I do? Make it sound exciting, make it sound curiosity, right? Because it's like, hey, there's some really good stuff. Because when is someone going to give you information? When they want it. How do they
That's
want
true.
it? When they're motivated. How are they motivated? If they know that there's more money on the table. If I said,
That's
"Hey,
true.
Reach, you might be sitting on an extra 50K or 100K more. I just need to know, your address just to verify to see if your price point qualifies for that." Do you see how beautiful that sounds? And I'm just making this up on top of my head. It's just like it's because I'm scripted. You have to be scripted. You have to think, how would you respond if someone called you like that,
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think
right?
as well as as you're calling these individuals, and if it's not working, it's not working, it's not working, we can't keep using the same script because clearly it's not working.
Mhm.
Right. So sitting back and reevaluating it, if you're getting roadblocks, mental blocks on what to say, you could always reach out to Nick. He's great, great
Mhm.
for that. You can also use things like Gemini or ChatGPTs, being like,
Exactly.
this is my script. I've got a lead. It came in through here. I don't have their address. I want to be able to do this. What is the best script that I could be using to create genuine connection and have this individual wanting to provide me with their address?
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But try doing it like that. Watch you start getting addresses. But then it's like, okay, you get the address. What do you say next?
Uh,
Right? You can't be doing that, man. You have to know the process. So this is how the
that's
process
good.
would look like for me, okay? So we'll continue on. So okay, perfect. You're in Whitby. What was the address?
1709 Red Springs.
Okay, awesome, awesome. That's awesome. So no problem. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna look at a few more opportunities right now to see the highest sale prices, so we can push that price as high as possible for you. However, I just need to know a few things about the property. So obviously at this time, once you have their address, like I'm already on Geo and I'm already putting it up there, so I'm talking about it like live on the fly. So then I would be like that property. Okay, so actually I have your property up here now. So I see that you bought it in 2015. I see that it was a 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, not, no finished basement. Since you lived in the property, have you done any upgrades?
Yeah, I changed shingles.
Shingles? Is that the only thing you've done, or have you done anything else? Any updates, additions,
Couple of the windows and yeah, and basement flooring.
Okay, okay, okay. So interesting. Okay, that sounds great. So, did you finish the basement as well?
Yes, it's finished.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, great. So, you know what? To be honest with you, you've provided a lot of value. And right now, obviously, your house hasn't been on the market in a while. The photos that I see is just a lot of little photos, meaning like there's only 3 or 4. That's why I need to ask some questions. Curious, obviously, I understand that you're in that information stage, but if I was able to maybe do a home assessment, come in, it's complimentary, obviously, but if I was able to come in and maybe quote you an extra 50 or 100K with on the value of your home, would that be something you would want to know?
Yes, I
Okay.
would be interested in that.
Okay, perfect. So when are you available for me to come by and then I can go over everything with you? Done. I just booked you a CMA.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, this was good.
So that's what I'm talking about. You have to have a plan. You have to have like a script. You have to know what you're doing. And remember, if you're buying leads and you have no plan, you're just like send e-transfers to me and the team.
And that's exactly what's happening right now, to be
You
honest.
know?
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where it is. And this is what I'm saying, guys. You guys are already spending money on leads. Maybe it makes sense to spend money on coaching to make sure that you can cut the line faster to make money. You know what I'm saying? So, that's where opportunities are. But it all comes down to coaching strategies, building relationships, scripting, resilience, crying in the corner sometimes, prospecting, showing up every day, getting wins, selling houses, making money. That's the strategy. That's the whole thing, how it all goes through.
Mhm.
And that's one client, and then you got to do that many times. Julita and Frank know that I have like 15, 20 clients on the go, so they know I'm crazy. You guys know that I'm crazy.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Well, great job. Any other questions before we kind of keep living the dream over here?
Yeah, I got Matthew here who lost a listing recently. They met with the individual twice, had a good report, but they ultimately decided to go with another agent who was deemed as the area expert because she had sold in that neighborhood. So have you ever encountered that yourself, or someone's like, no, we feel like, Joe Blow, he gets all the listings out, we feel more comfortable with that person? Any scripts or objection handlers for a scenario like that where they're trying to just go with somebody because they had a sold listing down the
Yeah.
street?
So obviously you said something in the listing or you didn't showcase that you knew the area. Simple as that. You did something or like, because did you, so, I would love, actually, Matthew, if you want to come up here, because it would probably be easier than you just texting and typing.
Hey,
Hey,
can you hear me?
Matthew. Yeah, I
How are
can.
you?
Hey, I'm good.
Hey,
How you doing?
good, good, good.
Yeah, so I mean, it really just depends. So obviously, is Vaughan your area that you do deals in?
It is my area, but I don't just do Vaughn though. So I focus kind of, I kind of do GTA in general. I don't really do that far west, but I do like Toronto,
Yeah,
Vaughan, Aurora,
you're a
Newmarket, that
realtor,
kind
man.
of.
We're gonna
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
within reason, right? So
yeah. I've sold houses in Vaughan as well in the past, so it's not like I'm unfamiliar. I grew up in Vaughan too, so I'm very familiar with the area, but it was just more of, it was right on her street that recent sold. It's a prominent agent in the area, and we just couldn't beat around that objection. We highlighted the area. We showed her houses that we sold in the area. We showed her houses that we had buyers for and stuff, but it just didn't seem. She loved us too, which was very heartbreaking. Like we had like multi-hour in-person meetings, and we got along with her dog, and I gave her we gave her little gifts and stuff. Like she was very responsive to us on text and in person. So it was just I really don't know what was done wrong, if anything could have been done differently.
yeah, I'll tell you. So
Sure.
basically, I don't. So what do you bring to your listing appointments?
So we bring like our like a Remax folder. We bring recent solds. I do printouts of like recent solds for
Yeah.
comparable purposes. I bring some marketing material
Yeah.
that we'd use. I'd bring market stats. I bring like some testimonials and stuff of that nature. And I just try and have a conversation with the client. I used to do more fancy like presentations, but I found it worked better just to talk less and let the client talk, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. So yes and no in some aspects. So what we do is we bring something similar, but we have a folder where it has like geo, property line, the listing
Right.
docs. Then we have
Right.
our listing book where we prepare it's a custom book. That's all about us, but we put the market stats and then recent comps from oldest to newest from the back of the book. And then
Right.
also we have a past sale binder. So my past sales are like that. So, and I go through it because I think it's very important to showcase
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I think, showing more, maybe not just the testimonials, but showing more listings. Because remember, if you're competing with someone in the area that has a lot of listings, you need to show that you can do the job just as well or better. So
For
I
sure.
think I think the question I think that you maybe didn't showcase or maybe didn't ask the right questions to close. How would that look? Okay. So hey Matthew, totally understand that, because she obviously knew that this would you obviously if you had multiple hours, you probably knew that you were going up against that agent, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
perfect. So don't know what your objection is, but or how you would handle that. How would you? So hey Matthew, like I'm thinking of going to that other person because they're crushing it and they just sold another neighbor street. What can you do differently?
Well, so that's the thing. So, I think the kind of focus was just talking about,
Yeah.
what I usually try and say is, we all the agents have access to the same information, but it's just a matter of what you do with that information and how you present the listing. And we just kind of focused on what we're, how we're going to market because everything is important, right? Everything is front facing,
But how are you going to market?
So I talk about, we do the professional photos, we do the Matterport, we don't chintz out, we do, professional marketing, we do ad campaigns, all that kind of stuff was explained, stuff of that nature.
Yeah. So I think it's like this is the problem, and like Julita and Frank, but Alita more can really speak on this one. But I think at the end of the day, it's the way that you're saying it and how it's getting approached. So hey Nick, so we're worried about, not using you because like there's another agent that's crushing it and doing it. Hey, you know what? I could totally understand as a seller. I can understand this, seeing that as well. And first of all, I just want to thank you for still having me and the opportunity to think about this. So I know that we're getting close to that decision. Now, curious, what did that other agent showcase? Yes, I know that they just sold that, but you've met with them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What have they showcased differently that you are very confident in, that you feel like you may not be getting from me?
Mhm. But I did, well, I didn't ask it exactly like that, but we did ask her, what is she doing for you? But she just was
But you
very
have to
close.
say it different. Do you see the way that I'm saying it though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're telling me the truth, or I'm
Mhm.
gonna find it out. And that's what Yulita says when she's saying, and Frank, I go deep, but I
Right.
say the right wording.
I
So
see.
it's because I'm scripted. So Matthew, let's go. What and be like however you feel this lead was, because
Oh,
like
I
I'm
see.
gonna
Sure.
give you
Sure.
whatever it is, right?
Sure.
So what do you feel that is that they've experienced that's so confident, compared to what we feel that we presented to you?
So I'll tell you what she actually said. So she said, well, I was walking my dog on the street and I saw the sold sign, and it was at the time when the market was well, the market's always been crap for the last couple of years, but she was just saying there's been an area where a lot of properties have come up for sale but have not sold. And then it stood out to me that this agent's listing had went on the market not too long, and then I saw the sold sign and I was like, wow, what did she do to get that
Exactly.
property sold in this market?
Right. Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
basically you're just impressed that like, you've been seeing her sold signs while everyone else has failed, basically. Is that
Yes,
right?
exactly. And my
Okay.
situation calls for, I need to sell it quickly and,
Yeah, no problem, Matthew. I get it. Listen, you want to sell this for as quick as possible while getting the most money as possible. And obviously, kudos to this agent because she's done a great job. She obviously knows what it is. But She's not the only agent. Let me get you that, right? Remember, a reason why a property sells is because it's how it's presented and it comes down to price. So what that agent is doing and what we are doing as well is that they're having honest conversations about where price is while all these other agents are giving bullshit prices. So that's why they're not selling. So let me ask you a question. If I was able to show you, here's some of my last sales. First of all, I would be pulling up the sales part. So as you can see, here's a listing that we just recently sold. We listed at this, sold for this in 5 days. Like we have a book. So we would be showing the book. So at that point, I know that she's gonna be like, "Okay, this guy knows what it is," right? So then I'd be asking, so let me ask you a question. If we had the opportunity, right? And I can show you that, sorry. So if we can give you the opportunity, if you gave us the opportunity, to showcase what we can do differently. At the end of the day, we're going to price this right. And I think there's 3 different strategies on doing it. Right now, what type of property is it?
That's semi-detached.
Semi-detached. So in
Yeah.
Vaughan. So basically
Yes.
you have a first-time buyer property. So there's 3 different decisions that you want to do, right? But hold on. I'm fucking up because I've stopped because of the thing, right? I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back here for a second because I'm gonna
Sure.
continue on from the book, right? I'm gonna say,
Right.
listen, so at the end of the day, if I was able to show you a strategy and if you were able to trust and I was able to show you what we can do and actually get you the number, and we can even do a short timeline just so you can try me out and just to show you what I can do and put my money where my mouth is. Let me show you what we can do. Let me show you how we're going to get you that number. And
Right.
we can have a 30-day timeline. At the end of the day, this 30-day timeline, will show you what I'm doing and how I'm working, right? And you're going to see from working with us what we do differently and how we're going to get you more showings. More showings means more buyers are interested. More buyers interested means obviously more showings, more offers, more interest, and more money. So let us show you what we can do differently.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
You see, sounds like a little bit there, but honestly, I would crush that. I fumbled on that because I fumbled on that a little bit, but I would crush that in the meeting.
No, for
And
sure.
I think it's just more of like just letting them know, like, hey, props to that agent, no problem. But
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. If I could do the same thing and I can get you a little bit more money, would you not use me? Right now, you have a confidence problem. You don't think that I can do it because this agent has showed success in her recipe, which is fantastic. But she's not the only one.
No, for sure.
And sometimes you can also pull back since you're a GTA, you could also pull back and just say, hey, we also have listings not just in Vaughan, in other areas as well. So when we have our listings, maybe something might not work for them. This is something where we can pull, where this agent is just working in this neighborhood. So we're going
Right.
to give you more opportunity.
No, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
100%. Can I add something to this?
Yeah,
Uh,
obviously.
Yeah, yeah. So 100% what you just said. And another thing that might be helpful when you're doing something that's not in your area and you're competing with a local agent is there is a tool there's a report I don't remember if it's in Property Line or in Geo Warehouse, but somewhere in there, there are quarterly reports that actually show where buyers are coming from for properties that are selling in a region. So for example, if you're doing a CMA on a property that's where a lot of buyers, like for us, a lot of buyers are coming from our area and they are going east, right? So that's something to bring. And like, why would you want to use a local agent? We have your buyers.
Right. That was
Exactly.
a good point. Yeah. Well, I think with this particular, because I've thought a lot about this, trust me, because I was pissed off because she was very realistic about the price, motivated seller, and needs to move like out of the country type thing. So it was not a listing to lose. Um, so I think it just come down to it seemed like that other agent was just not that I am confident in what I can do. I know what I can do, but I think I'm a little bit more poised and a little bit more real with the client. Where I feel like this other agent was what she told. I have to go based off what she told me, the client, but it seems like this other agent was just came in there. She didn't bring anything, I was told. She didn't bring anything at the first meeting that she had with her and just kind of walked around the house and said, okay, you got to do this. Like she was just to be honest, dude, like just an example, she suggested to the client to just update the staircase, like just paint the risers of the stairs white, just to kind of update it. But and she seemed impressed by that. But to be honest with you, like I try to give honest advice. I don't like to bullshit people. Like the rest of the house is almost original, so to do that is not gonna make or break the sale type thing. So I think maybe just I need to be more. It makes maybe bullshit is the wrong type of word, but maybe I just need to be a little bit
Bro,
more
that's not your
approachable.
problem. That's not your
Yeah.
problem. That's not your
No, you don't
problem.
think so?
Your
Okay.
problem is this.
Yeah.
Your presentation, you have to do better in your presentation, and you need to do better in questions, and you need to like build a better route out. That agent who did well is because she presented better than you. Especially if she just had to come in and just give like no paperwork, no nothing, just came in and just wanted to, look around. She presented better than you. And what sucked is that agent, that client was, I wouldn't say the word stringing you along, but like she probably didn't feel as confident as that agent, but that was her number one decision, and her decision wasn't swayed. That's what happened. So it was, in my opinion, it's a presentation, and it's because honestly, man, I think you should, if you've done listings and sold, like I don't know, and maybe you did, but you need to show like all your listings because it shows more when it's all that. When we come in, we bring a book this big.
Sure.
And like, I would ask Julita, because like Julita just like, Julita and Frank, but like Julita, like how are you in our listing appointment? Like when you're seeing me at the listing appointment and we go through some shit, we actually just sniped one, a recent listing from another agent that was coming on the market 2 weeks. So we were that other agent. Because we literally just door knocked them. We sold the property and Julita door knocked and she got the CMA. They were just about to come on the market and we got it. We swiped it. Swipe or no swiping. But Julita, what did we do differently? What in your opinion in the appointment? Like, just so Matthew can learn. And then after this, we can all get off the call. But I want to make sure
Yeah.
Matthew gets help.
So I think that you have absolutely amazing presentation and you stick through that presentation no matter what. So and you make it very conversational so they don't even know that you are presenting. Right. So that's a game changer because I've been in a business for a long time and I've also had different listing presentations. At some point, there was a time where I had a beautiful presentation on a laptop. I had another presentation, a paper presentation. Then there was at some point I was just showing up with comps and a pen and pencil. So I went through all those different techniques, I guess.
Yes.
But I think that what really stands out is the materials that you leave with the sellers afterwards, and also the fact that you are speaking about, you're answering the objections they didn't even know they might have later, right? So you're already answering those objections that might come up later. And you're presenting this in a very conversational way, and they don't even know that they're being basically
Bro, I swear
objectified.
all the time. I swear in my presentations. I'm me. So it's not about being polished. It doesn't matter. Like obviously it does to a certain extent, right? But it's about like so don't beat yourself up on saying like you being polished. No, it came down to presentation and it came down to scripting and it came down to closing. Those are the three things that has to be worked on.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
But you did a great job, bro. Like, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, you got the appointment and you've been working it. So, I mean, it's better to like, obviously getting the listing is great, but learning the lessons and getting better so that doesn't happen again is the best feeling too.
No, for sure. I know it's impossible to get them all, but I definitely want to increase the chance of that, right? So no, I appreciate the advice. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, good luck. And thank you for everyone coming. I hope you guys all had a great time. Julita and Frank, thank you so much. And Crystal, you're the best. You already know.
Good try. Thank you,
All right.
Nick. Thank everyone that jumped in today. It was a great session for sure.
Yeah. Okay, bye, everyone.
you.
Bye, guys.
Great day.
Bye.